station of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Arizona.
It's a Thursday matinee at Chase Field. That means we put on the purple today for this Throwback Thursday against the Cardinals. D-backs a perfect 4-0 on Throwback Thursday this year, and today they'll try and get another series win. It's afternoon baseball with the Diamondbacks on Fox Sports Arizona. Good afternoon from Chase Field. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthiaume and Bob Brenly. The purple is in place today. It's the rubber game of this three-game set. The Diamondbacks and the Cardinals. Now, it looked like we were in store for another D-backs comeback last night. Fell a little shy, but Bob, you know what? It worked out because all the division contenders lost yesterday.
Yeah, it seems like over the last month or so, until just recently when the Rockies started to lose, every time the Diamondbacks won, the Dodgers and Rockies would win. But that wasn't the case yesterday. Rookie Kyle Freeland gave up a couple of home runs to the San Francisco Giants. The Rockies dropped that game 5-3 to the Giants. We knew that young rotation was going to go through some growing pains, and it appears it has started.
It's the first series sweep of the season for San Francisco, so the Rockies are swept by the Giants, and the Dodgers lost a wild one last night.
On a walk-off strikeout.
Huh?
Maven's not even running. He had all the time in the world. He probably could have run that ball down to first base, but Yasmani Grandal airmailed one into right field, allowing the Angels to win that game 3-2.
So here's how things stand going into this afternoon's game with St. Louis. The Diamondbacks only a game and a half behind the LA Dodgers for the division lead. You see where the Rockies are. They're 5.5 back, and the Diamondbacks, Bob, holding a wild card spot by 10.5 games right now.
Well, and that's something to hang your hat on, but certainly the Diamondbacks would like to find a way to beat those Dodgers and win that National League West and avoid that one-game play-in.
It's Lance Lynn for the Cardinals, Patrick Corbin for the Diamondbacks on this Throwback Thursday. First pitch coming up on Fox Sports Arizona. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by Gila River Casinos. Experience winning like you've never imagined at the Gila River Casinos, Lone Butte, Wild Horse Pass, and Bequiva. By Jack in the Box and the Jumbo Jack, a home run for your mouth. And by CenturyLink, connecting you to the power of the digital world. Your Valley Honda dealers, where you get more standard features for less money. Buy Oregano. Step up to the plate for a guaranteed home run at Oregano's, your neighborhood pizza joint, location statewide. Buy Gigablast Internet from Cox. Get ready for the gig life.
And by State Farm. State Farm is here to help life go right. Talk to an agent today or call 1-800-STATE-FARM.
Diamondbacks have won 13 of their last 16 games. Chris Iannetta and Patrick Corbin, your battery on this Throwback Thursday. First pitch against the Cardinals is next on Fox Sports Arizona. Best start in their history, 50-29. A chance today to take 2 of 3 from the St. Louis Cardinals, which would give the Diamondbacks their 7th consecutive series win. And Mike Matheny's ball club comes into today 5 games under 500, 36-41. The St. Louis lineup is brought to you by your Valley Chevy dealers.
Matt Carpenter once again leading it off for Mike Matheny at first base. Randall Grichuk moves to center field today. Stephen Piscotty once again in right field. Jed Jerko down at third base. Jose Martinez not only took out the lineup card for the Cardinals today, he'll be playing left field. Paul DeYoung at shortstop. Alex Mejia making his major league debut at second base. Eric Fryer doing the catching, and veteran right-hander Lance Lynn on the mound for the Cardinals.
Torey Lovello, after getting ejected from the ball game last night, was also not out there for the Diamondbacks. Robbie Hammett took the lineup card out. Your Ram truck starter for the D-backs, the lefty Patrick Corbin, who got the tough luck loss in his previous start. That was last Friday against the Phillies, when Patrick gave up only 1 run in 6 2/3.
He's actually been throwing the ball really well over his last 3 starts. Really kind of all works off the slider for Patrick Corbin. Obviously, fastball command is very important, but if he's keeping that slider down in the zone, he can be very effective.
Our eye on defense for the Diamondbacks, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
David Peralta getting a start, day game after a night game, out in right field. Gregor Blanco will be in center with Chris Herman over in left field. It'd be Lamb and Ketel Marte on the left side of the infield, with Chris Owens and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Chris Iannetta doing the catching for lefty Patrick Corbin.
The crew chief has the balls and strikes today. Sam Holbrook, the plate umpire. Greg Gibson at first base. Jim Wolf at second. And DJ Rayburn at third. Diamondbacks will put the shift on against Matt Carpenter, the leadoff man. In the rubber game of this 3-game series, the D-backs and the Cardinals. Glad you're with us on Fox Sports Arizona. Our first look this year defensively at Ketel Marte, who gets the start at shortstop. Carpenter leads the Cardinals in home runs and RBIs. He's in there at 234 on the year. 102 degrees outside, a nice comfy 77 degrees inside Chase Field with the roof and outfield panels closed up, and Corbin's ahead 0-2. This is the way to spend a hot Thursday afternoon, middle of the summer here in the Valley. Diamondback baseball inside Chase Field. Carpenter lifts the fly ball to right for Peralta, who's got it just shy of the warning track. One away.
Yeah, come on down to the ballpark. Use our air conditioning.
Big series starts here tomorrow night, fans. The Rockies are in for the first of 3. Randall Grichuk in center field today. We've seen him in left field in the first 2 games of this series, batting second. 222, 6 home runs. He is hitless in the series. Grichuk has struck out 3 times. Fastball missed. It's 1-0. As we mentioned, Grichuk spent a month away from the Cardinals. Sort of in his own private timeout, they sent him down to Florida to work with George Greer, their hitting instructor, without playing in any minor league games, just to get his strike zone organization reset. Then he went up to AAA and hit 6 homers in one 10-game stretch at Memphis, and now he's back with the Cardinals. And didn't get anything from Corbin that time. A 1-out walk. Brings up Stephen Piscotty, the right fielder.
Right fielder number 55, Stephen Piscotty.
Yeah, it's funny how that works when a guy goes into an extended slump and you try to get back to basics and you try to find the coach who taught him the basics, and that's what the Cardinals did. George Greer, a minor league hitting instructor, was down in Jupiter working with Randall Grichuk, as you said, for the better part of a month. A lot of time in the cages, a lot of time looking at video, trying to rediscover that Randall Grichuk swing.
Well, they didn't want to just send him to the minor leagues. That's what their GM John Mozeliak said. He was just going down a path that seemed somewhat endless. So they literally just put him in timeout to go work on things without the pressure of the big leagues, without worrying about performance. Would he get to hit that night or not? Just get a feel for his swing once again. And he came back over the weekend and hit home runs in his first 2 games with the Cardinals.
And there are numerous examples of organizations doing that. I've talked about Jack Clark with the San Francisco Giants. Every time he got into a little bit of a funk at the plate, they'd call on Hank Sauer, our minor league hitting instructor, who had a really good relationship with Jack. I think of Matt Holliday. When he would get into a funk, he'd go to his brother,
who was the coach at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, who kind of helped him model his swing. So everybody has somebody that takes you back to your roots, where it all started, and try to fix things.
They just wanted Grichuk to take a step back and breathe and work on some things in a less intense atmosphere. Simplify things a bit. 0-2 on Piscotty. But he still does not have a hit in this series. Corbin didn't really give Grichuk anything to hit there. And he's jumped ahead of Piscotty. No balls and 2 strikes. Piscotty had an RBI single Tuesday night here, his only hit in the series. Lays off that fastball up a bit, and it's 1-2. It's a good right hand hitter right here, and going to the opposite field a lot lately. Blanco in center, shaded over toward the pool a bit. Trying to get him to bite on a slider down and away, and it's even 2-2. Here's Ketel Marte at shortstop. Chris Owings at second base today, the day off for Brandon Drury. First start of the year for Ketel Marte, a very promising prospect in the Diamondback system. Fastball away. Corbin nibbling a bit here with Piscotty, and he's worked it full now, 3-2.
It was fun earlier today watching the newest Diamondback, Ildemaro Vargas, working along with Ketel Marte, turning double plays out there at second base. You want to talk about some electric hands.
Right back to the mound. Marte for one. There it is, the 1-6-3. Corbin gets it started. And that ends the top of the first. Ketel Marte is here. Diamondbacks coming up against Lance Lynn. Field, the purples in place. No score, D-backs and Cardinals. And your Ram truck starter for St. Louis is the big right-hander, 6'5", 280 pounds. It's Lance Lynn, 5-5 with a 3.86 ERA. And he's given up 7 runs in each of his last 2 starts, both losses. 6 straight starts when he hasn't been able to pitch past the 6th inning of a ball game. He's given up a career-high 18 home runs already this season. Your lineup for the Diamondbacks, presented by your Valley Chevy dealers. Gregor Blanco leading it off in center field. David Peralta will be out in right with Paul Goldschmidt at first base. Jake Lamb at third. Chris Owings getting the start at second base today. Chris Herman in left field. Chris Iannetta behind the plate. Ketel Marte at shortstop, and Patrick Corbin, the lefty, on the mound. So here's Blanco to lead it off against Lance Lynn. Gregor trying to get it going again. He's hitless in his last 17 at bats. He's hit a tough stretch here, really his first of the year. Grounded out as a pinch hitter last night after going 0 for 5 in his previous 3 starts. 0 for 6 in this series. But a good chance to get back on track today. Blanco's had a good opposite field approach against right-hand pitchers all year. Floats a fastball in there at 89. 2-1. Lance Lynn really not getting hitters to chase his changeup this year. That pitch has been a non-factor for him. His breaking pitches have been getting hit hard lately. He's always had a pretty good hard fastball, but not much else has worked for Lance Lynn these days. He's another one of those guys, much like Adam Wainwright last night, that really relies on 3 different fastballs to get by. 4-seamer up in the zone that at times will approach the mid to upper 90s, a 2-seam sinker and a cut fastball. He'll mix in an occasional curve, occasional slider, occasional changeup, but he's going to throw 80% fastballs, one of those 3 fastballs. And that is your Valley Honda dealers key to the game. Yeah, how about this? I did a little math, which is usually not a good thing. In his last 3 starts, he's thrown a total of 301 pitches. 277 of those were fastballs. Yeah, that's been another issue. He throws a lot of pitches early in games. The pitch count elevates, and they have to get him out of there. He's failed to complete 6 innings in any of his last 6 starts. So the pitch counts are really getting up there. The walks have been a problem this month. Blanco bounces the 3-2 pitch to first for Carpenter. 1 away. Let's take a look at St. Louis defensively, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Jose Martinez out in left field today with Randall Grichuk moving over to center. Steven Piscotty still in right field. It'll be Jed Jerko and Paul DeYoung on the left side of the infield. Alex Mejia and Matt Carpenter on the right side, with backup catcher Eric Fryer getting the nod behind the plate for righty Lance Lynn.
Another issue for Lynn has been the home run ball this year. He's already given up 18 homers this season. That's a career high, and it's not yet July. Given up 6 homers in his last 2 starts, and here's a guy that might hit one today against him, David Peralta. He fouls off the first pitch. David 5 for 7 career against Lance Lynn, and he's in there at .321 with 8 home runs. A couple of hits in this series, including that big home run here Tuesday night.
I'm not sure if this is a mound issue or Lance Lynn is just not feeling right out there.
Trainers coming out to have a look along with Mike Matheny.
Grant Trenbeth and the ground crew a couple times in the ball game last night were called out to repair the mound. The 2 pitchers landing just off center on that landing hole out in the front had to be repaired. Not sure if that's the issue. They're looking down at that landing hole in the front of the mound.
Plate umpire is the crew chief Sam Holbrook, who's out there. Well, they're going to give it a shot here as Fryer scrambles back behind the plate. I mean, Lance Lynn's going to make a divot at 6'5", 280. He's not a small guy out there. Here's the last pitch.
He kind of slipped there as he was planting to run over to the right side in case he had to cover first base. He went to plant that right foot and it just kind of slipped away from him.
Well, Sam Holbrook motions over to Grant Trenbeth. We're okay out here. No need to manicure the mound, so we'll continue here with an 0-1 count on Peralta. Deep to center field. Grichuk at the track. 2 outs. Here's Goldie. Paul Goldschmidt 0 for 8 with a walk in this series. He has struck out 4 times. 323 and 18 home runs. Those 65 runs batted in, the most in the major leagues. An uncharacteristic quiet series for Goldie so far, especially here at Chase. There's this one out to right center. Piscotty's got it. What a catch. Stephen Piscotty in right center field out in front of the pool takes extra bases away from Goldie. Torey Lovullo wants to take a look, but it sure looked like at first glance that he caught it. That's a catch. We head to the second, no score.
inning, and Patrick has been much improved in his last 3 starts. I talked to pitching coach Mike Butcher, who said after his outing in Miami where he got tagged for 6 runs, 5 of them earned, they made a couple of changes. Small change, a very minute change on the positioning on the rubber, but also with the changeup, guys felt he was a little too dominant with the index finger and the middle finger, and so that's a softer changeup. We did not see many of them in that first inning, but he's had some confidence in that particular pitch, and I do expect him to throw that pitch a little bit more than he did in the first, guys.
Well, Jody Jerko gets a fastball there and leads off the second against Patrick Corbin with his 14th double. Well, you can't argue with the results as of late, Bob. Patrick over his last 3 starts has been really improved.
Yeah, his fastball command has been much better. I mentioned earlier in the show that slider's had a lot of downward movement recently. He's been able to drop it on the back door for called strikes, back-footed for swinging strikes. If he could add that changeup, that'd be a really good weapon for him against some of these tough right-handed hitters in this Cardinals lineup.
Here's the powerful Jose Martinez, who took out the lineup card for Mike Matheny before the game today. You don't often see a team starting left fielder bring out the lineup card. That seemed kind of random, but I'm sure there's a method behind the madness.
I'm sure Mike Matheny has his reasons.
283 and 5 homers.
One thing we know, when somebody takes out the lineup card, whether it's the manager himself or the bench coach or one of the players, if you win that ball game, that guy's going to get the lineup card again the next day until he loses.
Did you ever do that?
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah. I mean, we would look for connections. Obviously, we'd go to Milwaukee. We'd always let Robin Yount take out the lineup card. You know, let the Brewer fans see one of their great icons in organizational history. Other times, if that was his hometown or he had relatives in town, sometimes a player had lots of family and relatives at the ball game, we'd let them take out the lineup card.
Yeah, but if a guy takes out the card and you win, he's got a new job.
Oh yeah.
Every day. Robbie Hammock took out the card today for Torey Lovullo. There's Torey after his first career ejection last night as Diamondbacks manager by DJ Rayburn, who's right in front of the Diamondback dugout conveniently, umpiring third base here today. Torey had once been ejected during his time on the Red Sox bench. Is that awkward? I mean, when the series continues and one guy ran you and then you got to play another game or 2 against him?
It depends on what was said after you got run.
Well, I'm going to guess that generally it isn't good.
No, usually not. But I mentioned it last night. You know, the umpires are real good about letting things go. We know from this season that Torey is really good about letting things go. Which was called a strike way off the outside corner. Jeff Mathis backpedaling off the field, arguing with DJ Rayburn. He got ejected. Torey came out to back up his catcher, and he got triggered.
And now DJ Rayburn, who had the plate last night, is at third base. Torey's back, and hopefully all is forgiven. There's a bouncer to Owings at second. Jerko in at third, 1 away. Well, both guys, I thought, Jeff Mathis and Torey Lovullo, showed a lot of respect when asked about it. Obviously, there was a lot of discussion from the media after the ball game. What'd you say and who said what? And neither guy got into any of that.
There's nothing to be gained by that. They both made their point. DJ Rayburn made his point, and we move on.
Here's Paul DeYoung, the shortstop.
I mean, there's been many instances in the history of this game when a manager got ejected the night before and then got ejected at the lineup card exchange the next day.
Well, didn't you have one like that?
No, I was close in Seattle with Bill Miller and the searching for strikes. But that had nothing to do with the night before.
Couple of sliders from Patrick, and he's ahead 0-2. Jeff Mathis was the first victim last night. Chris Herman had to come in and catch the rest of the ball game and did well, had a single and a walk. So that worked out. Swing and a miss. First strikeout for Corbin, trying to strand Jerko at third, now 2 down.
The Young had a hit in the ball game last night in the 9th inning, but you look at his numbers. This is a guy that refuses to take a base on balls, especially if you get ahead of him in the count. You can just expand the zone. He'll chase everything. Should be an easy out right now.
Well, here you go. The first major league at bat for the U of A Wildcat, Alex Mejia, making his major league debut. Just called up this week. Cardinals sent Aledmus Diaz, who was their shortstop all last year, down to the minor leagues, and Mejia, a 4th-round pick out of U of A in the 2012 draft, is up there in his first major league at bat.
And following the lead of Matt Carpenter, no batting gloves for Alex Mejia.
74 minor league games this year between AA Springfield and AAA Memphis. Mejia has hit about 250 with 3 homers. So U of A in the house. Mejia was once Pac-12 Player of the Year playing his college ball in Tucson. Patrick bounces a slider up there.
Sounds like a broken record, but once again, the 3-headed monster behind the plate for the Diamondbacks continues to do an outstanding job blocking those pitches in the dirt. Gives that pitcher all the confidence in the world. In a 2-strike count, if I need to bounce a breaking ball with the runner at third, I know my guy's going to block.
Chris Iannetta back there today. Ketel Marte at shortstop. Little bobble there, but he recovers and throws out Mejia. Good job by Patrick to strand that leadoff double. Still no score. Second, Diamondbacks and Cardinals. Fans, if you're not able to watch the D-backs on television, stream them live on your mobile device. Some of you may be doing that right now at work. Use Fox Sports Go. It's presented by your Valley Honda dealers. Download the app and take Fox Sports Arizona. And that way you can watch the Diamondbacks wherever you go. Little Thursday matinee here as we finish off this series with St. Louis. And Jake Lamb leads off the second against Lance Lynn. A lot of folks were at work, you know, you just put the phone in the corner there at your desk, pop the game on, and stream the games live on Fox Sports Go. Little iPad mini, whatever you got. You know, if you don't get quite as much work done, I'm sure it'll come up in your performance review. 0-2 on Lamb, who's got 4 hits in the series. Jake doubled and scored last night. A lot of folks are streaming Diamondback games using the Fox Sports Go app, which is a tremendous service. And it's now you can't always be in front of the TV. And Bob, more and more folks are watching Diamondbacks baseball on their supported devices. Fox Sports Arizona, Fox Sports Go. That's worked out really well this year for fans.
Yeah, the more access, the better.
Yeah, record numbers of people are streaming games this year. Hard to first. One hop to Carpenter, who sticks the glove out there, makes a nice stab. 4 up, 4 down for Lynn. Little freight train, Chris Owings.
Second baseman, number 16, Chris Owings.
CO had a pair of doubles last night, knocked in a run. 295 with 9 homers. Owings, an RBI double in the 4th, another double in the 6th. He also stole a base. And they're at second base today, the day off for Brandon Drury. So that allows Drury to get a day off. It allows us to get a look defensively, at least, at Ketel Marte, who's the starting shortstop today. His first start for the Diamondbacks since his recall from Reno. There's a Lance Lynn fastball, and it's 0-2. There is Ketel Marte. He's played large parts of the last 2 seasons in the big leagues with Seattle, and next to him is Ildemaro Vargas, who was just called up today, and that has been the middle infield combo at AAA Reno all year. Marte at shortstop and Vargas at second, and they have been outstanding defensively as Owings strikes out. So Marte in the lineup, and maybe over the course of this weekend we get a look at Ildemaro Vargas.
I mentioned earlier watching them take ground balls and turn double plays pregame, and it's no wonder they're very comfortable with each other, very accustomed to each other. They look like naturals out there in that middle infield.
Yeah, Vargas is an interesting player, another player the Diamondbacks found in the independent leagues. Chris Herman, 207 homers. He's had a very good series, including the walk-off winner in the opener here. A couple of RBIs in that game. And Chris, as we mentioned, singled and walked last night after coming in to replace Jeff Mathis, who got ejected. Ildemaro Vargas is wearing number 15, and I was trying to think, well, you know, who else in Diamondback history has worn 15 in that particular uniform, and
Brent Brady.
Yes, exactly. The initials BB, exactly what we were looking for.
I believe Dan Herron wore 15 when he was a member of the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, but only one guy wore it in 2001.
That's right.
Ildemaro Vargas had a very impressive spring training, a lot of Cactus League games, got to see a lot of them. And he's had a very good year at Reno. Braden Shipley went back to AAA. Diamondbacks have been a bat shy on the bench for a while. And so Vargas is here. Shipley was up to give them some innings while Randall Delgado recovered from his last start. And so now that Randall's sort of back on track in terms of his workload as a reliever, they can get that extra bat back on the end of the bench. Herman shoots one out to left center. Martinez is there. 6 up, 6 down for Lance Lynn. No score, D-backs and the Cardinals. Independence Day early this year on the 1st of July inside Chase Field. Saturday, you'll get this awesome patriotic State 48 t-shirt. 7-10 game against the Rockies. First 20,000 fans get the shirt, as modeled here by the lovely Bob Brenly. And after the game, the D-backs and the Rockies, a big 4th of July fireworks spectacular presented by Gila River Casinos. Now look, we have fireworks after a lot of games on Fridays and stuff, and it's always a great show, but this fireworks display, this is the big one of the year. This is the biggie. We're celebrating because we're going to be at Dodger Stadium for July 4th. We're going to have a July 1st celebration here, and so that's coming up Saturday night against the Rockies. First 20,000 fans get the soft style State 48 patriotic t-shirt, and then after the game we open up the roof and we have our biggest fireworks show of the year. This is going to be spectacular.
I heard Vanessa down on the field before the ball game alerting the fans that it's going to be at least a 15-minute show.
Wow, really?
Yeah, that's quite the fireworks show.
So get your spot now for the game and the best fireworks show in town at dbacks.com. Get your tickets. It's already a huge game as it is. We're playing the Rockies. Plus Zach Greinke is starting that game. It's a 7-10 start Saturday night. So the t-shirt, the fireworks, the Diamondbacks, Zach Greinke, the whole thing. D-backs and Rockies. Big night coming up here at the ballpark on Saturday. This is the backup catcher Eric Fryer, who leads off the third against Patrick Corbin. 167 hitter, only 3 extra base hits all year. And when you're the backup to Yadier Molina, you don't get to play a whole lot. And Fryer looks at strike 3, second strikeout for Corbin.
It's probably hard for Eric Fryer to convince people that he does play for the Cardinals. I catch for the Cardinals. No, you don't. Yadier Molina does.
Well, it's one of my favorite games, Ohio trivia. He is from Mike Matheny's hometown, Eric Fryer, of Reynoldsburg, Ohio.
Yeah, right in the Columbus area, middle of the state.
All right. Here's Lance Lynn, the pitcher. It's another exciting edition of Ohio Geography with Bob Brenly. Our correct answer today was Reynoldsburg, Ohio. Lance Lynn is an Ole Miss Rebel. First round pick by the Cardinals back in 08. Out of Brownsburg, Indiana, 1-2 down. Job by Patrick Corbin, kind of pitched around Randall Grichuk a bit. The second batter of the ball game walked him, then got Biscotti to hit into a double play. He stranded Jerko's leadoff double in the second. Now he strikes out the first 2 batters here in the third. He set down 5 in a row.
Hey fans, the day after every D-backs win, get 50% off all pizzas at regular menu price using promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Diamondbacks put the shift back on for Matt Carpenter, the leadoff man, who flied out to right his first time up. Ketel Marte, the shortstop, right in front of second base umpire Jim Wolf, and Chris Owings, the second baseman, out in short right field. Cardinals recently traded Big City Matt Adams to Atlanta. And Matt Adams' bat has really taken off. He's found a brand new home with the Braves. He's had a whole bunch of home runs. And the Cardinals really couldn't play Adams at first base. Carpenter's defense is kind of a liability anywhere else in the infield. They tried a brief experiment with Adams in the outfield as a Cardinal. That left them unconvinced. So they traded him to the Braves, and now he's hitting a home run every day. And some fans in St. Louis are saying, hey, I think we traded the wrong guy.
Yeah, and the Braves are talking about moving Freddie Freeman across the diamond to third base when he comes back off the DL.
That's how well Adams has done in Atlanta. Big city. So they're kind of down on Matt Carpenter a little bit in St. Louis these days. They're down on a lot of things with the Cardinals. It's not been a great year. Their worst start in a decade. Can't get Carpenter to bite on that slider. Patrick throws that slider a lot to left-hand batters, so they know it's coming. And it's 3 balls and a strike. And with a fastball that time, and it's full 3-2. Afternoon baseball here at Chase Field. Good crowd here today. Camp day. We've got a lot of kid campers with us, so it's going to get loud in here. Another slider. A whole bunch of campers with us here today from all over Arizona.
Just waiting for something to cheer about. Waiting for that first D-backs hit in this game. And waiting for the cotton candy man.
Well, there's that too. The counselors, those are the real heroes.
Oh, yeah.
They got their hands full today. Goldie's got it at first. Patrick Corbin has set down 6 in a row. No score. D-backs and Cardinals. Old school Cardinal Road uniform. There it is in its previous glory. Don't blink, you might miss it. Hey fans, the can't miss event of the summer hit South Beach. Baseball's biggest stars take the field for the MLB All-Star Game. It's coming up July 11th, only on Fox from Marlins Park in Miami. That was a classic back in the 80s.
It's a bad look.
You don't like that?
No.
The road blue?
No.
Instead of the road gray, here's Curtis Iannetta. A
Not
lot of teams wore those road blue uniforms, right?
They were very popular for a while.
Yeah. Oh, that looks good, don't you think? He's very fussy about it.
Making
apparently.
sure there is not one wrinkle in that jersey.
Yeah. What is your objection to the old road blue unis?
Just don't like the way they look.
Well, that's enough. Used to see those all the time.
Yeah.
Willie McGee
and Vince Coleman and
Keith
Ozzie Smith,
Hernandez.
all the base stealers. Yeah, maybe that's why I don't like the blue Cardinals.
He seems to be very concerned with the wrinkles and the look on his face is it's a little disconcerting. Apparently, it's choking him. It's got to sit just right. It's the fabric has to drape. 3-1. Well, you notice there's nobody sitting near him. Iannetta, 239, 8 home runs. Had a 2-run double off the wall in center that tied up Tuesday's game here. It's one way up in the air toward left center. Randall Grichuk in center field today. And Lance Lynn has set down all 7 he's faced.
And we know Torey Lovullo has been very creative with the lineups this year, making sure that the regulars get enough rest, making sure the bench guys get enough playing time. But I think this is a first even for Torey. 3 Chris's in a row. Owens, Herman, and Iannetta, 2 of them catchers. I love it.
Yeah, that's good work right there. Herman and Iannetta back to back. Here's Ketel Marte, the numbers at Reno, where he was leading all of minor league baseball in hits. Flied out as a pinch hitter last night in his first at bat as a Diamondback. The switch hitter getting the start today at shortstop against Lance Lynn. Ketel Marte, 23 years old. '70 games with the Aces. You saw the numbers, a .338 average. And he was walking nearly as much as he was striking out, leading the Coast League in hits. Diamondbacks really big on guys who control the strike zone. They don't like guys that strike out. They can handle a bat. Marte shoots it the other way down the left field line. Ketel Marte, his first hit as a Diamondback, is a 1-out double. This is a very promising young player. There's his Reno teammate Ildemaro Vargas, just called up today.
Well, he just slashes his 2-seam sinking fastball out there on the outer third of the plate, drops a bat head on it, and ripped it down into that left field corner for his first double, first hit as a member of the Diamondbacks.
And as we've mentioned, Marte is not a stranger to the major leagues. He's got more than 700 big league plate appearances, that over the last 2 years with Seattle. But he was brought up to the majors at the age of 21, so he's still a very young player at 23 now. Here's Patrick Corbin. Diamondbacks thought, you know, maybe Marte was rushed to the big leagues just a bit. Let's send him to Reno. Let him just play every day, not worry about it. Just continue that development, because they've, you know, they had Owings, they had Ahmed. They're good at shortstop. But now that Nick is out for at least 2 months with that fractured hand, we're going to see a lot of Ketel Marte here. Marte just under 120 games with the Mariners last year, nearly all of those starts, so he's by far not a rookie, certainly by no means. He's played shortstop with the Mariners, some second base, he's played some center field as well. Torey Lovullo told us the other day they'll certainly move Marte around if need be. He could play third, second, some outfield. Switch hitter, good speed, a lot of athleticism. Two-one pitch to Patrick Corbin. Fastball up, and it's 3-1. Patrick has a couple of hits this year. He's also walked 3 times, so he's not up there just hacking. Blanco on deck, the leadoff man. Struck him out with a fastball. Second strikeout for Lance Lynn. 2 down in the third, and Blanco was the hitter. Igor Blanco grounded out to first to lead off the ball game for the Diamondbacks. He's got Ketel Marte at second and 2 outs. Chance for the Diamondbacks to strike first right here. Doesn't appear to be an overpowering fastball from Lance Lynn. I know he can mix them up a bit, but he's not throwing 95, 96 at you every other time. Blanco fighting it a little bit these days, hitless in his last 18 at bats. Here's a 94-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's 1-1.
Of course, it's a throwback Thursday here at Chase Field. D-backs wearing the purple and teal, and some of the fans really got into it here today.
Now that's the way to embrace the theme.
I guess so.
Lance Lynn just taking a moment here. Do you like the idea of a pitch clock? Because this is on him now.
Yeah. I mean, technically there is a pitch clock in place when there's nobody on base. The pitcher's supposedly required to deliver the next pitch within 12 seconds. But when a runner gets on base, all bets are off. The pitcher can take as much time as he wants between pitches.
I mean, Lynn has been very deliberate here, taking his own sweet time with Marte at second. 2-1 on Blanco. They tried it in the fall league, the pitch clock, and you'd have some moments where the pitcher, like Lance Lynn is doing now, would kind of, you know, adjust his pants and take his glove off and stroll around the mound. And if that clock went off, suddenly the plate umpire would just step out and yell ball.
Yeah.
And it was an automatic ball if the clock went off, if he wasn't ready to deliver the pitch by the time the clock ran out. Is driven deep to center field. Grichuk looking up, and it's off the wall. Marte is home. That's an RBI double for Gregor Blanco, and a 1-0 Diamondbacks lead. Gregor Blanco, the 2-out RBI double.
A ringing double. Fastball outer third. He barrels it up to straightaway center field. Randall Grichuk with tremendous speed out there in center, turned and started sprinting toward that center field wall, but realized he was not going to get there in time. Blanco on at second base with an RBI double.
2 doubles in the inning. The first 2 Diamondback hits so far against Lance Lynn, who again is all just walking around the mound. He seems very distracted. Peralta, the hitter.
Our old buddy Rick Sutcliffe, in his days as a pitcher at the major league level, he used to take a lot of time between pitches, and when asked about it after he retired, he said, "I was just waiting for my arm to stop hurting."
Sut always tells it like it is. Well, I remember when they played the Padres in that NLCS in '84. He went up to Wrigley Field game 1 and knocked the home run out of there. And then he was on the mound for game 5 when the ball went under Leon Durham's glove at first. You want to hear some good baseball stories? Hang out with Rick Sutcliffe for a while. You will be really entertained. Hey, there's the great Ralph Kelso.
Ralphie, nice.
Ralph, how'd you catch that?
Real easy.
Ralph makes it all look easy.
Nicely done.
There you go. The great Ralph Kelso, part of our terrific Fox Sports Arizona crew here. Here comes another one, Ralph. Ralph pounced on that one like Tony Esposito.
Just like Tony O.
He's a big hockey guy, Ralph. One and two on David Peralta.
I think it's more likely Ralph used the Bob Uecker approach.
Pick it up when it stops rolling.
Just wait till it stops rolling and then go over and pick it up.
Ralph, did you catch that on the fly or on the hop?
Right on the fly, right with my left hand.
Yeah,
How
baby.
about that? Pretty impressive. Oh, we got all tied up. The cutter in. But Blanco's 2-out RBI double makes it 1-0 Diamondbacks. Man, Ralph Kelso caught a foul ball. Flyer on the hop.
Right on the fly, right with my left hand.
Yeah,
How
baby.
about that? Well, we went back and reviewed it, and Ralph, that's fake news. Our Cox high-speed highlights. There's Ralph, and he did use the Bob Uecker method.
Yes, he did.
Wait till it stops rolling and pick it up. Ralph, what do you have to say for yourself? You're busted.
I'm innocent.
Upon further review,
Yeah.
you're not. Ralph,
Pregame.
Ralph, we look to you to lead us.
Yeah, I thought you said, did I catch it on the bounce?
Oh, Randall Grichuk. Wow.
There goes your fielding percentage. No Gold Glove for you.
Grichuk walked his first time up. Now Corbin's ahead. This time 0-2. Now he bloops one into short right. And a leadoff single, second hit for the Cardinals. You can see the headline now. Cameraman denies foul ball story.
Could take on a life of its own.
Yeah, you know how the media blows everything up. Wait, we are the media. Piscotty hit into a double play to end the first. Patrick behind 2-0 on the Cardinals' number 3 hitter. 50 pitches, 33 strikes for Corbin. So far he has walked 1, he struck out 3, given up just 2 hits. And retired 6 straight before Grichuk single to lead off the inning. 3 balls and no strikes. Jerko on deck.
Little warning there from Chris Iannetta, that action that he just did with his glove behind home plate alerting Patrick Corbin. Even on a 3-0 count, Piscotty probably has the green light. Which is outside for ball 4.
Well, that's the second walk for Corbin. The first 2 have reached in the Cardinal 4th, and Jerko, who doubled his first time up, will be the hitter. Here comes Mike Butcher.
Hey fans, we invite you to participate in Gila River game nights by signing up at one of the interactive kiosks located here at Chase Field during any D-backs home game.
And a reminder, when we finish this game up with the Cardinals, the Rockies come in for a huge 3-game series starting tomorrow night. Get your tickets, fans. dbacks.com. Robbie Ray on the mound. Tomorrow night in this series opener, the Rockies getting their opening day starter back. John Gray is supposed to start that game for Colorado. He's been out for most of this year with a foot problem. Rockies are here in the Valley. They were swept by the Giants in a 3-game series. They have today off, so they may be out there with the campers wearing purple shirts or something. Here's Jerko, double to lead off the second. Grichuk is the runner at second and Piscotty at first. Jerko's had a good series. He's walked twice. He's doubled twice. He's knocked in 4 runs. 298 on the year with 12 homers. That 880 OPS leads the Cardinals.
A couple of vicious sliders to start this sequence. One for a called strike and that last one for the swinging strike.
That's a big Jed Jerko San Diego Padres hack right there. That's where Jerko is really vulnerable, chasing a breaking ball down and away. He'll catch up to a good fastball. Another slider lays off and it's 1-2. Base hit. They're going to stop Grichuk at third, and the Cardinals have the bases loaded with no outs. Jerko 2 for 2.
4 consecutive sliders there to Jed Jerko. The last one unfortunately hung up over the middle of the plate long enough for him to bang it through into left field for a base hit. You get that ball down in the zone, down there below the knees, he probably swings at it anyway, but unfortunately for Patrick, he left it up in the zone and Jerko able to bang it into left.
Jose Martinez grounded out to second his first time up to start today in left field. Grichuk at third, Piscotty at second, Jerko at first, nobody out here in the 4th. Into left. Grichuk is home. They wave Piscotty. Here's the throw from Herman. It's cut off, and the Cardinals take a 2-1 lead. Rough start to the 4th for Patrick Corbin.
Another off-speed pitch. That appeared to be the straight changeup trying to go away from Martinez, but once again caught too much plate Chris Herman's throw back to the infield was cutting back toward first base. Jake Lamb had no choice but to cut that one off.
The shortstop Paul DeYoung will be the hitter. He struck out his first time up. Three singles and a walk start the inning for St. Louis. That's a base hit into center. Jerko is headed back to the bag at second. He'll stop at third, and again the Cardinals have the bases loaded. Still no outs. The first 5 have reached in the 4th.
I talked about DeYoung in his first at bat of this ball game. He's a guy that just refuses to walk. You do not have to throw him a strike to get him out. Unfortunately, another pitch right down Main Street. DeYoung banged it into center field.
He's now got an 8-game hitting streak. 2 runs are already in. And Corbin again in a bases loaded, no out jam. The hitter will be Alex Mejia, who grounded out in his first major league at bat back in the 2nd. No one throwing in the Diamondback bullpen as of yet. Keep in mind they just sent Shipley down to AAA Reno to bring up Ildemaro Vargas to put an extra bat on that bench. They've been carrying an extra arm in the bullpen. Here's Vargas waiting to make his major league debut. So Corbin and Mejia, bases loaded, no outs, 2 runs are in. Foul toward third. Here comes Danny Wood, our Golden Glover, down the left field line today. Gregor, baby, you can drive my car, working right field. There he is. Alex Mejia, the U of A Wildcat, just his 2nd at bat in the big leagues. Just recently named to the Texas League All-Star team for his play in AA this year. Called up from AAA Memphis just the other day. Aledmus Diaz was sent to the minor leagues. The 1-1 from Corbin. Fly ball along the right field line. Peralta runs it down, and Jerko will stop at third. First out here in the top of the 4th. The batter will be the catcher, Eric Fryer, struck out looking his first time up against Patrick. Fryer only 3 hits in his last 29 at bats. That dates all the way back to last month. Yadier Molina the day off today. Well, Patrick's got the number 8 hitter right here. The pitcher Lynn on deck. He can at least maybe come right at these guys and try and get a ground ball and get out of this mess.
That's what happened to Zach Godley in that 4th inning yesterday when he ran into his problems. 3 runs were in. He'd just given up a 2 RBI base hit to Yadier Molina, and then got a double play ball off the bat of Randall Grichuk and a fly ball to right from DeYoung to get out of further damage in that 4th yesterday.
Twice in this inning, Patrick has had bases loaded and no outs. If he can get out of this with only 2 Cardinal runs, he'll call that a big win. Limit the damage. Came in with a fastball and missed. It's 1-2. Try to tie him up inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, that was a broken bat waiting to happen. If Fryer continues to swing at that pitch, he ends up with a tent peg in his hand and the barrel of the bat somewhere in the infield.
Jerko at third, Martinez at second, DeYoung at first. Popped it up, but it's going to reach the seats at out of play. Eric Fryer, his 24 games with the Cardinals last year before he was waived by St. Louis in July. The pitcher Lynn is on deck. They got picked up by the Pirates, played a while with them, and re-signed with the Cardinals in December. So this is his second go around with St. Louis as the backup to Yadier Molina. Bases loaded, 1 out. Able to check his swing that time, says Greg Gibson, and Fryer has worked the count full, 3-2.
Very close. Both of his check swings in this at bat could have gone either way.
Big pitch right here for Patrick Corbin. Got him. 2 down.
A big thank you to Eric Fryer right there. He chases ball 4, a fastball up out of the zone. It was too tempting, could not take it.
So here's the pitcher Lynn, who struck out his first time up against Patrick. That was back in the 3rd. Corbin has walked 2 and struck out 4 so far. Lance Lynn only has 2 hits all year. Slider missed, and it's 0-2. Patrick is twice in this half inning had bases loaded and no outs, trying to keep the Cardinals to only 2 runs. 70 pitches, 46 for strikes.
Patrick has a specific pitch in mind he wants to throw here on this 0-2 delivery to his opposite number, Lance Lynn. And apparently Chris Iannetta just wasn't hanging the right fingers.
I was going to say, if you're the catcher, do you try and talk him out of it, or do you just go with what he wants to do? I guess it depends on the personality.
Ultimately, the pitcher is the guy who has to throw the baseball, and he has to be committed to that pitch if it's going to be any good at all. So usually you defer to the pitcher. You may make your case as a catcher. You know, I think this is the pitch we should throw. Why do you want to throw that? And, you know, it's a negotiation out there on the mound. But ultimately, like I said, the numbers are going to go on the back of Patrick Corbin's bubblegum card, not Chris Iannetta's.
Well, he tried the slider that time. He threw it in the dirt, and it's 1-2. Got him. Patrick Corbin. 2 big strikeouts to end the threat, but the Cardinals get 2. They lead it 2-1. Night, but to our State Farm winning combo, Bob Redley and Mark Grace. And we were talking about umpire ejections last night. This is you and Greg Gibson and Gracie. And I thought you handled yourself really well here.
Yeah, well, that was my first. I got better after that.
That was your first one ever, huh?
Yeah. Well, as a manager, anyway.
Well, that was you were arguing about the check swing, right?
No, I thought Gracie went myself on that particular swing. But my issue was Greg Gibson had the rabbit ears. He walked over toward our dugout. He had his ear up listening for Gracie to say some kind of magic word from the dugout, and I couldn't let that happen. I had to go out and tell Greg Gibson, stay on the field. You don't have to be over in our dugout.
Guess who's here today?
How about that?
Nice coincidence. Greg Gibson umpiring first base this afternoon, as Goldie leads off the bottom of the 4th against Lance Lynn, who's now got a 2-1 lead. Goldie 0 for 9 in the series so far. Flat out his first time up today. Hit a ball to right center field, on which Stephen Piscotty made a lovely diving catch in the gap. Took away an extra base hit. It looked like you made contact with Greg Gibson that play. That's a big no-no.
Nah, I didn't make contact.
It looked like he warned you. Hey, you might have brushed up against me there.
I'll brush up against
Just stirring it up. Fly ball, deep center field. Grichuk at the track, and that ball is gone. Paul Goldschmidt, that's his 19th, and we're tied at 2. Right onto the home run porch out there in center here at Chase.
Pretty good deke out there by Randall Grichuk. I thought he was camped under that ball on the warning track. Got back there underneath the aptly named home run porch and just watched it sail up into the seats.
Well, Bob and I broadcast some games from out there, and we always say that's one of the best seats in baseball. The 2 home run porches here at Chase Field, where you can literally sit out over the playing surface as Jake Lamb steps in. And that's why we call it the home run porch. A Jumbo Jack, a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow with a purchase of a large drink at Jack in the Box. Tell them Goldie sent you. Lance Lynn keeps going to that cutter, moving in on the Diamondbacks left-hand hitters. And he's ahead of Lamb 0-2. RBI number 66 on the year for Goldie. That leads all of Major League Baseball. Lamb right behind number 2 in the RBI list.
And Goldie's hit 19 home runs this year. Lance Lynn has given up 19 home runs.
Oh, the synergy. That's been a big problem for Lance Lynn. That 19 homers allowed already a career high. And it's not yet July as Lamb looks at strike 3. Chris Owings. CO struck out his first time up. Tampa to third for Jed Jerko. If you count today's start, Lance Lynn has now given up 7 homers in his last 3 starts. Ooh, that's a lot of home runs. And here's the guy that can take you deep, the Herminator. Chris Herman flied out his first at bat today, getting the start in left field for Torey Lovullo. And Herman in his last 6 games, a double, a homer. He's knocked in 7. Diamondbacks with 3 hits so far against Lance Lynn, 2 doubles and a home run. Lance Lynn missed all of last season coming off Tommy John surgery. Had that in November of 2015. So he was out all last year, came back this year and got off to a great start. He was 4-1 with a 2.04 ERA after his first start in May. But since then it's been all downhill. A terrific stop by DeYoung behind the bag and takes a base hit away from Chris Herman. Paul DeYoung, the Cardinals shortstop. But Goldie gets the equalizer. His 19th is tied it at 2.
2-2 game here in the top of the 5th after the Paul Goldschmidt home run. But there's a new member of the Arizona Diamondbacks and his first experience here in the major leagues. Ildemaro Vargas, a switch hitting infielder who can play all over the infield, is a great story, guys. Nearly 10 years to get to this point. Signed out of Venezuela at the age of 16. Ariel Prieto was actually down there at that point in time as a pitching coach with the Venezuelan club. Said terrific hands. He was just 130 pounds back then, but he's kind of taken the route of David Peralta. He was with the Cardinals, then released. He said that's a motivating factor. Kind of interesting that we're playing the Cardinals right now, but then was discovered in independent ball by the Arizona Diamondbacks, and so he's made his way here. In fact, Yadier Molina went out on the field today to congratulate him. Also his wife and his son. His little son was out throwing the ball with Ildemaro earlier today, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Jody. That was with the Bridgeport Bluefish in the Atlantic League, signed by, of course, Chris Carminucci, the same scout that does such a great job for the Diamondbacks, that found David Peralta playing independent ball. And Peralta has long since been known by the scouts as Bigfoot. I mean, he's, you know, that rare find in Carminucci's the one that went out into the woods and found Bigfoot when he found David Peralta. And he's also got Ildemaro Vargas on his resume now, and we're excited to get a look at him.
Yeah, Steve Gilbert is reporting that Ildemaro Vargas had to stop at a sporting goods store on the way to the ballpark today to buy a new pair of cleats because the ones he was wearing in Reno weren't the right color.
Get out of here.
Now, as he will learn very quickly, there's all kinds of backup shoes down in that clubhouse. Guys have boxes and boxes of cleats. I'm sure somebody on the team wears his size, but you gotta, you know, don't take anything for granted. That's a smart thing to do for a young player. You don't want to show up with the wrong color shoes and immediately go to kangaroo court your first day in the big leagues.
They'll find another reason to get you in there. 6 strikeouts for Corbin. Oh, that was a shot of Steve Gilbert, who looks like he's breaking another story there in the press box just to our right here. There's Steve. He's the guy with no hair.
Wait, what? Stevie does such a great job.
Covers the Diamondbacks at D-backs. Yeah, Steve, you're on TV. Where? Over there? Yep. Does a great job covering the Diamondbacks at MLB.com. See his work all the time on the D-backs team page. Piscotty walked and scored his last time up. He's 0 for 1. So I didn't get to see some of the work before the game today, but you were telling me about Ildemaro Vargas and Ketel Marte working together, because they've been the second base shortstop combo for Reno all year. So they're really familiar with each other.
And it showed. I mean, granted, it's a pre-game infield workout. It's not like game time, got to turn a double play to win a ball game kind of stuff. But man, you could tell these guys had worked together a lot. They were very comfortable with each other, and especially Vargas, extremely impressive with the quickness of his hands at second base.
Yeah, Vargas just named to the Pacific Coast League All-Star team for his work with the Aces. Right field corner, Peralta. Good bounce back inning for Patrick Corbin. A 1-2-3-5. Diamondbacks and Cardinals were tied at 2.
All knotted at 2 as we head to the bottom half of the 5th inning here at Chase Field. Time to take a look at this day in Major League Baseball. Well, not Major League Baseball, just baseball history. Boise Hawks manager Mal Fincham.
You made that name up.
He got suspended for a game. He got ejected in the 6th inning, went in and put on the Boise Hawks mascot uniform and managed the rest of the game wearing the mascot's uni. The league found out, they suspended him. I think you got to give him some credit.
That's better than Bobby V's fake nose and glasses in the Met dugout. Chris Iannetta leads off the 5th. How did they find out?
I don't know.
Hey, that looks like Mel Finchman in the suit. Pull the head off that thing and see.
I think the problem was the 9-foot-tall Boise Hawk mascot started to give signs.
With his wings.
Touches on his elbow and his ear. Wait a minute. Wait.
If I touch my beak, that means bunt.
We had another good this day in baseball history back in 1916. We had to go way back into the Wayback Machine. The Reds played the Cubs and beat them 9-6. One baseball used the entire game. No foul balls out of play, no home runs. They played the entire game with one baseball.
So nobody hit a foul, or did they make the fans throw it back?
I think back then they had to throw foul balls back onto the field, so none of them were lost. Let's just put it that way.
Guy in net is going to lose one right here. Flying out to center his first time up. Is that the dead ball era? What year was that?
1916.
Yeah, maybe. It's dead. Nobody wanted it.
I mean, now baseball rarely lasts more than a pitch or two.
It's amazing. Well, they sell them. I mean, you get any foul ball or ball that comes out of the game, they take, and you can buy them right here at the ballpark. Game used baseball.
Yeah. Send it up to the memorabilia stand. You can buy a game used ball.
I bet a lot of fans aren't even aware of that. You don't catch a foul ball, you can go buy one of the ones that was used and switched out. Miss with a fastball, and Chris is back even 2-2. Iannetta, 14 of his last 15 hits have been extra base hits. Everything's been on the barrel these days for Chris, even as outs are loud outs, deep fly balls. He strikes out here. 5 strikeouts for Lance Lynn.
Maybe just enough tailing action to get back to the corner there. Close enough for Sam Holbrook.
Ketel Marte, his first start as a Diamondback, doubled down the left field line and scored a run his first time up. Came home on Gregor Blanco's 2-out RBI double in the 3rd. This was Ketel Marte in his first at bat as a starter for the Diamondbacks. Shoots one down the left field line. Ketel Marte from the Dominican Republic, signed by Seattle in 2010. Diamondbacks acquired Marte in November along with Taijuan Walker. That was part of the Gene Segura deal. And he looks at strike 3, a fastball from Lynn. The pitcher, Patrick Corbin. Lynn has retired 5 in a row since the Goldie homer. Patrick struck out his first time up. Diamondbacks beginning today, 2nd in the National League West, only a game and a half behind the Dodgers. LA plays later tonight at Anaheim. D-backs are 4 up on 3rd place Colorado. Rockies are off today. They're already here in the Valley ahead of their 3-game series, which starts here at Chase Field tomorrow night. That'll be Robbie Ray and John Gray.
Yeah, we hope hope the Rockies are enjoying their off day here in the Valley of the Sun, out golfing or jogging or riding bikes. You know, get out there and enjoy the outdoors while you're here in Arizona.
And wait a little bit. Don't go out early in the morning. Wait until mid-afternoon. You can really enjoy some of the desert vistas.
Yeah, and don't worry about taking any water with you. There's, you know, there'll be water somewhere.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
They have it along the trails and stuff. Cart girl will come by, something.
Probably be a fun way to spend an off day, to rent some ATVs and go out in the desert.
Yeah, borrow a dirt bike from Madison Bumgarner. Go four-wheeling out there. I think you're onto something. It's the least we could do. You want to be a good host. Yeah. Enjoy all that Arizona has to offer. Hike up Camelback. Do it a couple of times.
Maybe go on a scorpion hunt.
Well, maybe not that. Lance Lynn, a 1-2-3 5th. We'll head to the 6th inning. Cardinals and Diamondbacks 2-2. Matinee, D-backs and Cardinals tied at 2. Time for the unlimited baseball break. It's presented by T-Mobile. What else is happening out there? Did you read the story of John Tumpain, the umpire?
Yeah, I did.
Who helped save a woman on the Clemente Bridge, which is the bridge that goes across right to PNC Park in Pittsburgh. She was on the other side of the railing and was going to jump, and John Tumpain, who was walking to the ballpark, literally grabbed her and held her feet dangling off the edge of the bridge to prevent her from jumping until police and authorities could arrive. And they eventually handcuffed the woman to the bridge, and they talked her out of it, and he may have saved her life.
How about that?
Miguel Andujar, as John Sterling says, first player in Yankees history with 4 RBIs in his big league debut. And what happened to Rick Porcello?
Tough to figure. I don't know. I've seen a couple of his starts this year. He's been a victim of some weak contact that has dropped in for base hits, but really tough to figure what's going on with that starting rotation in Boston outside of Chris Sale.
Yeah, they traded a whole bunch of prospects for him. I believe they have David Price on the mound tonight at Fenway Park against Minnesota. Jed Jerko leads off the 6th. Patrick Corbin gets a ground ball to third. Lamb has it in the hole. Patrick, since that ugly 4th inning, when he had bases loaded and no outs, Cardinals got 2 in the inning. He has retired all 7 he's faced now since the Young single to load the bases.
Well, an ugly 4th inning for Patrick, which you'd have to say is an improvement, because if you think back to the early part of this season, Patrick had trouble getting out of the 1st inning of ball games.
Yeah, that problem has lessened lately, but that was a big issue right up until really 2 starts ago or so. Martinez had the big hit in that Cardinal 4th, a 2-run single. DeYoung followed with a base hit, but since then it's been 7 up, 7 down for Corbin. He has walked 2 today and struck out 6. And you wondered if he would survive that 4th inning, and now here he is at 85 pitches through 5 1/3. Martinez, a threat to go deep. He's got 5 home runs on the year. 4 of them have come in this month of June. It's a bouncer to Ketel Marte at shortstop. 2 outs.
Hey fans, bring the whole family to the ballpark this summer with the D-backs Value Pack. You get a game ticket, a Subway sandwich, or a hot dog, and a Pepsi for just $25. For tickets, visit dbacks.com/value.
Last Cardinals base runner was DeYoung's single in the 4th, and here he is with 2 outs in the 6th. Here's a first pitch changeup from Patrick. Paul DeYoung, a rookie, 25 games with St. Louis this year. He's got 3 singles and a walk in this series. They just sent down Aledmus Diaz, who was their shortstop for much of last year and spent a lot of time leading the National League and batting. Aledmus Diaz last year, but he's sort of lost the stroke this year. They just sent him to AAA Memphis. Brought up Mejia, and DeYoung is holding down the fort at shortstop. They're also without Colton Wong, their second baseman. He's got a tricep problem. They hope he'll be back by the All-Star break. So they're a little undermanned in St. Louis these days. Dexter Fowler's on the DL. One more time for Lamb at third. Boy, Patrick Corbin, outstanding. He's retired 9 straight since that 2-run 4th. We're tied at 2.
That was in progress here at Chase Field, but right now it is on hold. This from General Manager Mike Hazen today, saying that Major League Baseball's commissioner's office telling the D-backs that they will not approve it going forward this season. It's just kind of at that point in the season where it's too far in. And Hazen explained that there were some problems with the calibration. It needs to be a room with about a 70-degree temperature and a 50% humidity, and there were more issues getting to that point than they maybe thought about. So as of right now, though, guys, the plan is still to go forward with it for 2018.
There's Mike Hazen in the GM box here at the ballpark. Thank you, Jody, as Gregor Blanco leads off the 6th inning. So no humidor this year.
What am I supposed to do with all my cigars?
Good point. You must have one already installed at the estate. The other thing about that is once you actually get it up and working and calibrated and Major League Baseball signs off on its design and construction and all that, then you have to have the balls in there for 3 weeks before you can even use them and take them back out to be put in games. So it's a long process, apparently, this thing.
Apparently so. Who would have thunk you'd ever have to know something about a humidor to know anything about a baseball game?
The wonders of the modern age. We're still wondering. You know, the way the Diamondbacks are playing at home, 30-11 here at Chase Field. I don't think that's the worst news ever. But you start messing with the baseballs, and you get a lot of guys who come down and inspect things and make sure everything's just the way it needs to be, which is good. You want it all on the up and up.
If you're going to do it, I just don't understand the reasoning behind it. I mean, you don't use drier, lighter baseballs at sea level than you do in Colorado.
So you want sort of the natural element.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it is what it is. You're going to play at mile-high elevation. The ball's going to jump. They built the ballpark big, knowing that the ball was going to carry extremely well, but apparently that wasn't quite enough.
Well, part of it too, and you know, the front office has been pretty consistent about this, is that they wanted also the pitchers to get a better grip on the baseball. You know, not so dried out all the time. The ball slips. You can't quite throw it the way you want to. Full count on Blanco. 3-2 to open up the 6th. He belts it down the right field line. Gregor Blanco is back. An RBI double in the 3rd. He's digging for 3 here. And Blanco's in there with a triple. Well, he had a stretch where he went hitless in 18 at bats, but he doubled in the 3rd. And now a triple starts us off in the 6th.
He's back. We got a center cut fastball that time. Didn't do much of anything. Stayed right there on the tee for Gregor Blanco, and he bangs it down into the corner where Stephen Piscotty had some issues, but Blanco didn't care. He was headed for 3rd regardless of what happened down in that right field corner.
His 2nd triple this season. Go ahead run at 3rd. Nobody out for David Peralta, who's 0 for 2. Peralta has flied out, struck out. 5 for 9 career against Lance Lynn, including a home run. Whoa, takes a big late cut at that cut fastball. The big lefties in this lineup, Peralta and Lamb, have seen a lot of cutters from Lance Lynn here today. That ball breaks in toward the left-hand hitter from the right-hand pitcher. Infield creeping in for St. Louis. Peralta just missed it. Well, Greg Gibson was right on the line, and boy, that didn't miss by much. First base umpire with the emphatic signal, foul ball. Here's a look.
Yeah, no argument from Dave McKay nor David Peralta. Yeah, clearly hits in foul territory.
Good call. David has been a very good hitter this year with 2 strikes on him. A lot of contact with his 2-strike approach, especially against right-handers. Fastball got away from Lynn. It's 1-2. Problem with Peralta in this situation, we saw it on the first pitch. If he gets a hard fastball, he's going to hack. He's been biting on those hard fastballs a little more than most guys as of late. Gets one and pops it up. Another cutter. Who wants it? Jerko from 3rd. Oh, hang on there. A juggling act by Jerko. It's the Jerko juggle. 1 out in the 6th.
Love the reaction from the crowd. They immediately realized, oh, he's going to drop it. Off the forearm, off the chest, and then ultimately back into the glove for Jed Jerko.
Now that was always the thing with Alex Rodriguez. A-Rod hated pop-ups and would always run away from them. Some guys have trouble with those.
Oh yeah, ask Gracie about it.
Uh-oh.
All those years he played for the Cubs at Wrigley Field, Ryne Sandberg just did not want to catch a pop. Now, fortunately for the Cubs, Sean Dunston could charge over from shortstop, or Gracie could come over from his first base position to make the play on those pop-ups, but Ryne Sandberg would just point at him and get out of the way.
Well, this is why the Diamondbacks have been so dangerous this year. Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach. What do you want to do? You got the go-ahead run at third. One out. Goldie and Lamb coming up. Goldie homered his last time up to lead off the fourth. Deep to center field is 19th of the year. That's our Chaz Roberts, air conditioning and plumbing. Cool, play the game onto the home run porch. So the infield for St. Louis will come in, toes on the grass. Goldie has fly out and homered. Fastball in, really in. You're testing his patience.
Whatever you do, don't make him mad.
Kind of an eye roll there from Goldie. Blanco at third after his leadoff triple. Well, they clearly want to work him in, but it's 2-0.
You saw Lance Lynn with a little glance over to his own dugout right there. I don't think he wants to pitch to Goldie. They're going to go ahead and give him the no pitch intentional walk here after falling behind 2-0.
So here comes Jake Lamb.
Don't let him do it, Jake. That's what I'm sure somebody in that third base dugout is yelling as he makes his way up to the plate. Don't let him do it to you.
Lamb is the man. Second behind Paul Goldschmidt on the Major League RBI list. He's 0 for 2 so far today. But he's got 4 hits in the series, Jake Lamb. He doubled and scored last night. One out. Blanco's at third. Goldschmidt at first. Dave McKay coaching down there. Carpenter's got it. The young for one. Lynn late getting to the bag. And Lamb beats it out. Blanco scores, and it's 3-2 Diamondbacks. Lynn was late getting over there. DeYoung had to wait to pull the trigger, and then the pitcher wound up dropping the ball. 3-2 D-backs.
Little rollover grounder leading Carpenter right to second base, but DeYoung, as you mentioned, had to hold up momentarily to give Lynn a chance to get over there. And now you got Lance Lynn trying to find the base, trying to find the ball, and just not able to come up with the play. Throw was a little bit behind him that time.
So they get the run home. Lamb's at first, 2 outs now for Chris Owings, who's 0 for 2. That's going to get foul. Chris had a pair of doubles last night here. He drove in a run. Really squaring the ball up, especially against right-hand pitchers lately. A lot of solid contact from CO against these righties. Fastball in the dirt, 1-1. Diamondbacks have been out hit 5-4, but they lead it 3-2. D-backs 4 hits, all extra base hits, doubles by Marte and Blanco. Blanco is tripled, Goldie is homered. That goes foul, and it's 1-2. Chris Owings better than a .340 hitter this year here at Chase Field. Checks in with Tony Perez-Chica at third. Bullpen is busy for the Cardinals with Lynn at 85 pitches. They love the D-backs. Camp day here at the ballpark. Zoom ball from Lynn. It's 2-2. Bullpen gets busy for the Diamondbacks as well. Ruby De La Rosa has started to warm up down there. A look inside the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Coach Mike Fetters. Really tied him up inside that time, but the Diamondbacks get one. They lead it 3-2. Had bases loaded, no out jams in that fourth inning. Really limited the damage, only 2 runs, and then after that he set down the final 9 he faced today.
Yeah, this game had a lot of similarities to the ball game last night as far as the Diamondbacks starting pitcher. Last night Zach Godley cruised through the first 3 innings, retired 9 in a row, and then had all kinds of issues in that 4th inning when he gave up 3 runs to the Cardinals, and then was really good again after the 4th inning. Kind of the same thing for Patrick Corbin here today. The single, the walk, a single, a 2 RBI single, another single before retiring the Cardinals in that 4th inning, but then settled right back in.
Another look now at Ruby De La Rosa. It's the Ash line call to the bullpen. Ruby's 4th appearance since coming up from his minor league rehab process, following not 1 but 2 stem cell therapy injections during the offseason for that sprained UCL ligament in his right elbow. And boy, he has really looked good, Bob. The stuff is there for Ruby.
Oh, velocity is outstanding. He's consistently in the upper 90s, approaching triple digits. His breaking ball is just falling off the table when it gets into the hitting zone.
A little bit of a delay here for the Cardinals. Alex Mejia is the scheduled hitter, but Mike Matheny goes to his bench. Greg Garcia, the left-hand batter, will take the at-bat for Mejia, and we presume stay in the game to take over at second base. He started the first 2 games of this series at second. Garcia has singled and walked in this series, 198 on the year.
3 for 20 as a pinch hitter for Mike Matheny this season.
He's only had 5 extra base hits all year. There's not much power here.
Yeah, Ruby De La Rosa in the game in relief of Patrick Corbin here. I was just thinking about the bullpen and how different it is down there depending on what's happening out on the field. If the Diamondbacks are behind in the ball game, there are certain relievers that know, well, this is my part of the game here. We're trailing. They're going to ask me to come in and get some big outs here, keep us in the game, let the offense figure something out. You take a lead in the game, those guys, they relax a little bit. And now Ruby De La Rosa and Archie Bradley, Andrew Chafin, Fernando Rodney are the guys that are now anticipating possibly coming into the game.
Well, this is the kind of game in which your bullpen can really shine. 3-2, a 1-run lead as we start the 7th. They got 6 innings from Corbin. Up the middle, Ketel Marte, the shortstop today, 1 away. Here's the catcher, Eric Fryer.
Catcher, Eric Fryer.
Diamondbacks are no longer without that extra bullpen arm. Braden Shipley was sent back to AAA Reno today to make room for Ildemaro Vargas. Torey Lovello's been a bat short on that bench the last week or so. So there's 1 less bullpen arm back there today. And hopefully we get a little look at Vargas. We'll keep that spot warm for A.J. Pollock, who hopefully will be back, fingers crossed, for that series in L.A. A.J.'s just about there with his rehab process. And it's floated down the line and foul.
Hey fans, there's lots of fun promotions this year. Be sure to get your tickets. This Saturday, July 1st, will be an extended fireworks show presented by Gila River Casinos, and 20,000 fans will get the State 48 Patriotic Soft Style Tee. Next Saturday, July 8th, is the alumni game and a collectible cup set giveaway courtesy of Sanderson Ford. And on July 22nd, fans can pick up the Robbie Ray strikeout counter bobblehead courtesy of Sprint. Visit dbacks.com to see the full promotional schedule.
Robbie Ray starts that critical series here tomorrow night against Colorado. He'll be matched up with the Rockies' John Gray. 2-2 to Fryer. Mention that alumni game. That's always a special day here. Don't forget, fans, we'll play the alumni game before our scheduled game with Cincinnati that day. So if you want to come down here and get autographs, you got to get to the park early. We'll open up the gates early. That's a new twist that they added to that alumni game, and it really worked out well last year as Fryer lines out to land.
And as soon as we have a list of the alumni that are going to participate this year, we'll definitely let you fans know in case some of your favorites are going to be out here.
Yeah, but don't forget the alumni game before that night's game. Get down here early. That's your best chance to get some autographs from some of the legends, including the big unit. Well, that ends the day for Lance Lynn, the Cardinals starter. Luke Voit will be the pinch hitter with 2 outs here in the 7th. Voit singled and scored a run when he pinch hit in the 7th inning on Tuesday night. Voit 70 games with the Cardinals AAA team in Memphis. He was having a really good year down there, hitting .322 with 12 homers. He's only had 5 major league at bats, but he's got 2 hits. Can't check his swing. Slider there from Ruby, and it's 0-2. Boy, he has looked good. He has really looked good. He's going to be a weapon at the back end of this bullpen come August and September when they really need some big outs. But Voit gets into one and sends it to left center. Luke Voit, a 2-out double. Well, he's had 6 major league at bats. He's got 3 hits.
Hanging slider out on the outer third of the plate, but up above the knees, and Voit, big strong guy, just reached out there and flipped that ball back to the gap in left center for a 2-out double.
All right, well, here's a test for Ruby. He's got 2 outs in the 7th, holding a 1-run lead, tying run in scoring position, and the hitter is Matt Carpenter, who's 0 for 3. Chris Iannetta out there to talk it over. Diamondbacks will put the shift on. Marte, the shortstop, is in the second base spot. Owings is out there in short right. Keep in mind, Matt Carpenter only has one hit in this series. He doubled and scored against Braden Shipley in the 8th inning last night. He has walked 3 times in this series. Very patient hitter up there. That Carpenter is tied with Joey Votto for the major league lead in walks. First pitch fastball. Sam Holbrook doesn't bite. It's 1-0. Carpenter can handle a fastball away, a fastball down. Missed at 98 and it's 2-0. You've got first base open if you'd rather go after Grichuk.
Matt Carpenter has a little Michael Jordan going with his tongue in that left-handed batter's box. I noticed this the other night. He's constantly licking his lips, licking the corner of his mouth, even as the pitch is being delivered. Apparently not a distraction for him. Bothers the living daylights out of me.
Looks like Al Pacino. 3-0. They may want to go after Grichuk here. I mean, you're going to put another guy on ahead of a guy that can hit the home run, and they'll give him the intentional walk. But Grichuk's got a lot of swing and miss in his stroke, and he'll be the hitter. That counts as an intentional walk. So first and second, 2 down for Grichuk. He's walked, singled, and scored a run today. 1 for 2. Here comes Mike Butcher. Bullpen quiet for the Diamondbacks.
We've seen this a number of times this year too. Mike Butcher will go to the mound, but his first conversation is with the catcher. Had some words for Chris Iannetta before offering some encouragement to Ruby De La Rosa and heading back to that third base dugout. But the first thing he did was go right to Chris Iannetta, perhaps to make sure that everybody's on the same page as how they're going to go about Grichuk in a key situation here.
Well, Grichuk has 1 hit in the series. He struck out 4 times. His hit was his single to lead off the 4th against Corbin. 2 on and 2 out. 3-2 Diamondbacks in the 7th. Start him out with a slider, and it's 0-1. Doubled up on that slider, lays off again, and it's a ball and a strike. Grichuk's got power. Hit a home run in St. Louis Sunday that went 478 feet. Yes, he went. Greg Gibson 1-2. Fastball from Ruby.
Well, he went as far as Gracie did.
One ball and 2 strikes on Randal Grichuk. That's trouble and gone. Randal Grichuk, his 7th of the year, and the Cardinals have a 5-3 lead. That's his 3rd home run since he came back from his minor league stint over the weekend.
Another slider that stays over the heart of the plate long enough for Grichuk to barrel it up the left field. A no doubter over the bullpen out there.
Stephen Piscotty. Piscotty's 0 for 2 today. He walked and scored in that 2-run Cardinal fourth. Now they've added 3 in the 7th. That's one thing that Randal Grichuk can do. He's got real power. Grichuk was originally drafted by the Angels out of high school in Texas. They had the 24th and 25th pick in the draft that year. The first guy they took was Grichuk. The second guy they took was Mike Trout. So that's what they thought of Randal Grichuk coming out of high school in Rosenberg, Texas. 3-2 on Piscotty. Walked him. They're going to have to come up with plan B for this inning. Bullpen is still quiet with De La Rosa approaching 30 pitches in the inning. And the hitter is Jed Jerko. Jerko has doubled and singled today, 2 for 3. Makes a big hack at a slider. It's 0-1. Jerko's had a very good series. He's knocked in 4 runs. He's walked twice. 2 doubles, a single. Out of play, and it's 0-2. Pitcher spot is due up 4th in the Diamondbacks 7th. It'll be Herman Iannetta Marte. And then De La Rosa's turn. Pitch number 30 in the 7th inning on the way from Ruby. Piscotty takes off. There's a high fly ball, playable for Peralta. But the Cardinals get 3. A 3-run homer by Randal Grichuk. 5-3 St. Louis. Trailing the Cardinals 5-3. And What's next? Brought to you by CenturyLink. This is a biggie. A 3-run series against the Colorado Rockies begins tomorrow night. Robbie Ray against their opening day starter John Gray, who's back from a foot injury. And Zach Greinke Saturday night. That's our big 1st of July celebration. Patriotic t-shirt and the post-game fireworks spectacular. Our biggest fireworks show of the season coming up on Saturday. And then Taijuan Walker against Airman Marquez in the series finale Sunday. Then we go to Dodger Stadium for 3 games starting on Tuesday. New pitcher for the Cardinals, the right-hander Matt Bowman. Saw him in the series opener on Tuesday night. Chris Herman leads it off. Greg Garcia does indeed remain in the game, take over at second base for Alex Mejia after he hit for Mejia in the top half of this inning. And sure enough, first ball's right to him. It's amazing how often that happens.
Yeah, it really is incredible how many times a guy that just comes into the ball game gets that first ball hit right to him.
Well, it happened, and it was a key play in the game on Tuesday when Ledmus Diaz, who just got sent to the minors, came on to play shortstop, and Fuentes hit one right under his glove and wound up scoring the winning run. Chris Iannetto for 2. Chris had a 2-run double off the wall in center that tied up Tuesday's game. He's got 4 doubles in his last 3 games. 2 balls and no strikes. Remember, it was Bowman who wound up getting the loss in that amazing game here in the series opener. Came on to start the 10th inning. Gave up that Fuentes single before the Herman walk-off. Sliders in there for a strike, and it's 2-2. Oof. Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Ketel Marte on deck, pitcher spot behind him. Bullpen busy for the Diamondbacks. Randall Delgado has started throwing down there. Mr. Organic. Chris Iannetto rarely ever gives you a bad at bat. He's another one of these guys who's really good at, borrowing a term from Joe Madden, organizing his strike zone. Grinds, drives up pitch counts, quality ABs. Another case in point right here.
tell you, Bowman is really flirting with the rule pitching out of the windup. He takes that first step back, actually to the side, to the first base side with his left foot, and then there's a pause. Once you begin your windup, it's supposed to be one continuous movement without interruption or alteration. Is that not a stop right there? It's a picky little thing. It doesn't give him any kind of advantage as Iannetta takes a called third strike.
Slider, Sam Holbrook says is strike 3.
Shortstop,
Ketel Marte has doubled and scored. He struck out his last time up against Lance Lynn.
We used to argue that with Hideo Nomo when he was pitching for the Dodgers. The tornado, that windup that he used to feature, he would take a step back and put his hands straight up over his head and pause. And I tried to convince umpires in the National League back then that that's not a legal windup. It's supposed to be one continuous movement without interruption or alteration.
Well, there's definitely an interruption, if not a full and complete stop.
And once again, it's not a competitive advantage, but the rule of law says that you can't do that.
Marte slices one, late break by Martinez. And Bowman with that pause works a 1-2-3 7th. Diamondbacks trail the Cardinals 5-3. Some changes for the Diamondbacks as they trail it 5-3. 3 teams, 2 series, 1 goal. The Diamondbacks begin their battle for the top spot in the National League West when they take on the Rockies starting here tomorrow night. And then we go to LA July 4, 5, and 6 facing those Dodgers. Don't miss any of the action right here on Fox Sports Arizona. And you can stream all these games live on Fox Sports Go. 3 against the Rockies and 3 against the Dodgers in LA next week. Let's start on the mound. Your ash line call to the bullpen. It's Mr. Organic Randall Delgado. His 23rd appearance on to start the 8th inning. A couple of changes here by Torey Lovello. Now Ketel Marte will come out of the ball game. He made the final out in the bottom of the 7th inning. Chris Owings moves from second base to shortstop and making his major league debut. And at second base, just up today from AAA Reno, that's Ildemaro Vargas, a Pacific Coast League All-Star this year. Jose Martinez, the left fielder, who had a 2-run single in the 4th, leads off the 8th. So Vargas will bat 9th, pitcher spot now 8th in the Diamondbacks order. So Ildemaro Vargas will have his first big league at bat coming up in the home half of this inning. Check swing bouncer to third. Lamb charges. Goldie got the tag on there. Greg Gibson at first. Well, Martinez is a load moving up that line. He's hard to miss at 6'6", 215. Mike Matheny and his folks having a look. Oh, goalie might have olayed that one.
Yeah, I think so.
And they will challenge at first. That's a really difficult play for the first base umpire, because with Goldie spinning around like that, he's basically screened from the play.
Yeah, and a very dangerous play for a first baseman, extending that left arm right down the first base line when you know that runner is trying to get to the base. Goldie was just trying to get a tag and then spin out of the way there.
And that's such a dangerous play. I remember always think about Mark Teixeira, who suffered a very serious hand and wrist injury on a play like that. When you get that glove hand up against a runner moving at full speed, you can do a lot of damage, so you got to get the hand out of there. Looks like the Cardinals are going to win this challenge. Safe at first is the call. Martinez aboard to lead off the game.
At first base. The call has been overturned. At the plate, shortstop Paul DeYoung.
That's an error on Jake Lamb. E5 puts Martinez at first for Paul DeYoung, who singled in the fourth. High fly ball, left field for Chris Herman. Martinez at first will bluff and hold. Here's the second baseman, Greg Garcia. He grounded out his first time up today.
Second baseman, Greg Garcia.
Just looking down there at Ildemaro Vargas at second base. This guy that's played 10 years in the minors. He was in independent ball. Over 2,000 minor league plate appearances. What do you think he's feeling right now? Those knees knocking?
I would imagine a little bit until you get that first ball hit to you or make your first play around the bag at second. You just want to get involved. You want to get in the flow of the game somehow.
1-0 on Greg Garcia. Martinez takes off, and that one's lined into left center. Owings broke to the bag. That might have been over his head anyway. In any case, the Cardinals have runners in the corners with one out.
Well, we talked about it before game one of this series. This Cardinals team, who historically have been known as a very aggressive base running team. They like to hit and run. They like to bunt and run. This year's team not so much, but Mike Matheny with the lead in the ball game, pushing some buttons there, playing a little hit and run, and it worked out.
The catcher Eric Fryer 0 for 3. Randall could really use a ground ball right here. An organic ground ball.
quite sure what that meeting was all about. There's no runner at second base. Chris Iannetta is just using one sign. But before he even hung down the sign, he made a trip to the mound to talk to Randall Delgado. Now a long look over to the dugout.
Here's the 1-1.
That looked like about a half of a pitch out there. I'm not quite sure what that was. I didn't recognize the sign from Chris Iannetta. He put down the horns, the little finger and the index finger, which is usually an indicator of some kind of a pick off or pitch out. Let's change up to fastball away to slider to fastball in.
Missed with a fastball, and now it's 3-1. Pitcher spot is up next. Tommy Pham's in the on-deck circle for Mike Matheny. He started the first 2 games of this series in center field. Out in front of a rare breaking ball from Delgado. That looked like a curveball. Big slow slider. Martinez at third, Garcia at first, 1 out. 3-2 and the catcher Eric Fryer. Bases are loaded, and Pham will be the hitter. Tommy Pham, a pair of singles in the series. He's scored twice.
For Matt Bowman, number 28, Tommy Pham.
Mike Butcher gets the bullpen phone going. Bases full, 1 out.
Pham taking this pinch hit at bat in the pitcher spot. Yadier Molina, the only position player available for Mike Matheny for the remainder of the game.
Torey Lovullo giving Mike Butcher the final word before the mound visit. Here comes the pitching coach. Looking for answers here, trying to keep this a 5-3 deficit. Diamondbacks have been out hit 8-4 today. The offense been a little quiet. Bullpen will get busy for the D-backs. You get the left-hander Matt Carpenter on deck, and Andrew Chafin starts to get it cranked up in the Sanderson Ford bullpen. Chafin's one of those guys that warms up really quickly. Randall looking for that ground ball double play. So Pham is the hitter, 280 and 9 homers. Singleton scored in the 4th inning. Last night, singled to lead off the ball game Tuesday. Belts that one foul down the left field line. Jumped on a changeup out in front.
Delgado, 57 innings pitched this season. That was only his 11th walk of the season. Wow. 53 strikeouts against now 11 walks.
Martinez at third, Garcia at second, Fryer at first. Delgado ahead 0-2. Chafin warming up quickly in the bullpen.
This is the 10th time in this 3-game series that the Cardinals have had the bases loaded.
They had the bases loaded twice, both times with no outs in that fourth, and Corbin gave up only 2 runs. Look where Matt Carpenter stands in the on-deck circle. Usually they're almost behind home plate. He's way off to the side. 1-2 on Tommy Pham. That's trouble. It's in the gap. Martinez is home. Garcia right behind. Pham overruns the bag at first. He gets back safely with a 2-run single, and it's 7-3 St. Louis.
Wasn't hit hard, but hit in a good spot for the Cardinals. Little jam shot off the bat of Tommy Pham, floats out there into shallow left center field. Man, they definitely had a play on Pham back at first base right there. If they handle that relay throw back to the infield cleanly. Pham was almost halfway to second base, and Goldie was on the bag.
Yeah, he was thinking 2 all the way. So the Cardinals, who were down 3-2, get 3 in the 7th, now 2 in the 8th. They take a 7-3 lead. And here's Matt Carpenter. Still only 1 out in the inning. Chafin is ready in the bullpen. Carpenter has not hit left-hand pitching very much at all this year. Pham takes off for second, and he's going to be in there as Iannetta drops the ball. Stolen base for Tommy Pham. Carpenter from that Will Myers school. No batting gloves and a lot of dirt. Chased a high fastball and strikes out. 2 down.
Center fielder, Randall Grichuk.
Well, Grichuk has had the game's biggest hit, a 3-run home run, with 2 outs in the 7th off Ruby De La Rosa. His 7th of the year. He's also walked and singled today. 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. Grichuk returned to St. Louis Sunday night from the minors, hit a home run, then hit another home run Monday, and this is his 3rd since coming back. D-backs have been out hit 9-4. They trail at 7-3. Fastball missed. It's 3 balls and a strike. Piscotty on deck. De La Rosa labored through a long 7th. Now Delgado having issues in the 8th. Diamondbacks, after the Lamb RBI in the 6th, had a 3-2 lead. That's a fair ball down the left field line. It'll score 2 more. A big day for Randall Grichuk, 5 RBIs, and it's 9-3 Cardinals.
I believe that was another curveball from Randall Delgado, or a slider he took a lot off of. Grichuk gets out in front, jerks it down into that left field corner to drive home 2 more. Randall just not able to command anything with any consistency, not even his fastball today.
Stephen Piscotty has walked twice today. He's 0 for 2. Now 10 hits for St. Louis. Didn't go, says Greg Gibson. It's 1-0.
We saw Andrew Chafin up. We assumed he was getting ready for Matt Carpenter, the only lefty that they have in the lineup. Well, Greg Garcia now, since he came in as part of the double switch. But once the score starts wobbling the wrong direction, you really don't want to burn any more relief pitchers. No sense playing a matchup trailing by more than a run or 2 in the game.
As soon as Carpenter went up to bat, Chafin sat down, and now there's no one throwing. You might as well have Randall, who's obviously stretched out, finish this thing up and save some bullets for the Rockies series, which starts tomorrow night. So Randall might have to wear it out there for another inning or so. Nothing's quite there. Changeup missed in. It's 3-1. Jerko on deck. Full count, 3-2.
This is another inning where the Diamondbacks somewhat done in by their defense again. Jake Lamb's error started this whole thing.
Yeah,
now,
right.
Granted, it was a very tough play for Jake, but his throw pulled Goldie off the bag, allowing Martinez to reach. DeYoung flied out to left field. Had the Diamondbacks been able to make that play, it would have been 2 outs and nobody on base. Certainly would have changed the complexion of this inning.
3-2 to Piscotty. Belted fair down the left field line. Grichuk is coming home with the 10th Cardinal run. Back-to-back doubles for St. Louis. It's 10-3.
Loud contact here in this inning for the Cardinal hitters against Randall Delgado.
9th man to bat in the St. Louis 8th is Jed Jerko, who has singled and doubled today, 2 for 4. Diamondbacks a game and a half behind the Dodgers for the NL West lead. This one's obviously not going very well, and the Dodgers have Clayton Kershaw on the mound tonight in Anaheim. Rockies are off. Cardinals with 3 in the 7th, now 5 in the 8th. Diamondbacks had a 3-2 lead. Ten runs, the most allowed all season by the Diamondbacks. Previous high had been 9. They'd done that twice. Full count on Jerko, 3-2. All 4, they've batted around. No one warming up in the Diamondback bullpen. And here's Martinez, who hit the ball to start off this inning. Lamb was charged with an error after the out call at first was overturned. Goldie not quite able to put the tag on Martinez. So he hits for the 2nd time here in the 8th. Scotty at 2nd and Jerko at 1st.
Boy, this is a little stunning. The Diamondbacks bullpen has been so good as Andrew Chafin resumes throwing again in that bullpen. That pen has been so good this year. You just assume when that door opens up, that means zeros on the board.
Yeah, we've been a little spoiled the way the bullpen is pitched.
As you mentioned, Bert, this is the first time the Diamondbacks have allowed as many as 10 runs in a game. 11 different times this year they've scored 10 or more runs in a game.
Yeah, this is the reverse of the way the season's gone for us so far. .40 pitches for Delgado in this inning. 40. Only 21 for strikes. Called strike 3, and that's the end. But the Cardinals get 5. They lead it 10-3.
at the start of the 7th inning, the Diamondbacks were very much in control of this game with the guy they wanted on the mound, right? It was setting up.
I would imagine just about everybody in this building was saying the Diamondbacks, well, they had the Cardinals right where they wanted them. Wrong. Didn't quite work out that way, did it?
There's still some baseball to be played, so let's let that happen and let the chips fall where they may. And when it's all done, Steve and Bob will be here for Diamondbacks Live, the postgame show. But for now, we'll send it back to you.
All right, guys, thanks very much. Some changes for the Cardinals defensively. Tommy Pham replaces Randall Grichuk in center field as Grichuk moves over to left. Martinez comes out of the ball game, and the new pitcher is the left-hander Tyler Lyons. And this is the major league debut, the first big league at bat for Ildemaro Vargas, just called up from AAA Reno before the game today. Vargas, a switch hitter, just named to the Pacific Coast League All-Star team, hitting over 300 with Reno this year. His first at bat in the big leagues, and a very impressive spring training. He's had a great year at AAA Reno, but he's down 0-2. Finally in the majors after parts of 10 seasons in the minors, and those are the shoes that he bought at a sporting goods store today on his way to the ballpark. And he strikes out on his first big league at bat, 1 down. That'll bring up Gregor Blanco.
Center fielder, Gregor Blanco.
Blanco's had a good day, an RBI double in the 3rd. He tripled and scored in the 6th. And that was the run that gave the Diamondbacks a 3-2 lead. But the Cardinals have answered with 3 in the 7th and 5 in the 8th. Rough 8th inning for Randall Delgado. Bullpen stays busy for St. Louis, even with a 10-3 lead. There's the right-hander Mike Myers.
How about this one, partner? Cubs and Nationals playing again this afternoon. Nationals lead at 3-2 in the bottom of the 7th. Trey Turner with 2 more stolen bases today, giving him 35 on the season. That's more than 10 different teams in the major leagues.
But did Miguel Montero blame the pitcher? That's the question. That got Miggy fired from the Cubs, complaining that when they ran wild the other day in D.C. that Jake Arrieta wasn't holding the runners. It's not his fault. Shortstop is over there. DeYoung, 2 outs. David Peralta now. Peralta today 0 for 3. That's a rare sight for D-backs fans. The D-backs are 15-3 in their last 18 home games, going all the way back to May 15th. A home record this year of 30 wins, only 11 losses, but they trail at 10-3. Rally caps are still on, though. And Peralta sends one out to Pham in center. We'll head to the 9th inning. Diamondbacks trail the Cardinals 10-3. Diamondbacks trail it 10-3 here. Hey fans, you can crush home runs and dominate in your very own derby competition. It's the official MLB.com Home Run Derby game. On the App Store and Google Play, swing for the fences against more than 10 million players from around the world as your favorite Derby All-Star. Download Home Run Derby for free today. Diamondbacks have been out hit 11-4. They trail it 10-3. Andrew Chafin is on. And he'll start the ninth. The Ash line called to the bullpen. A 2.03 ERA in 35 appearances. Paul DeYoung, the shortstop, leads it off. DeYoung singled in the fourth. He's 1 for 4 today. This is going to end a stretch for the Diamondbacks that has been enormously successful. They had one. If this score holds, they will lose the series. They had won 6 consecutive series overall. They were going today for their 7th straight series win. So that series streak will end at 6. The last time the Diamondbacks lost a series here at Chase Field, April 28th through the 30th against the Rockies. Colorado took 2 of 3. Last time they lost a series at home, the end of April.
That's a nice run.
30-11 at home this year. This will drop to 30-12. Three and 1 on the Cardinals shortstop. Rockies are in here tomorrow night for a critical series. Robbie Ray pitches the opener. Zach Greinke goes Saturday night, our big July 1st celebration. Patriotic State 48 t-shirt. Fireworks spectacular after the ball game here Saturday, as Chafin gets the strikeout. And then Taijuan Walker starts Sunday series finale against Colorado. So get your tickets, fans, at dbacks.com. We'll brush this one off and get ready for the Rockies, who are already here. And they're spending their off day here in the Valley today. They just got swept in both LA and San Francisco. Rockies have lost 8 in a row. Ray Garcia. So the Rockies will come in here absolutely reeling. Is that change things at all, the fact, Bob, that the Rockies are coming in here with an 8-game losing streak?
No. You really do have to take each game on its own merit. You got John Gray coming back off the disabled list. We're not exactly sure what he's capable of doing as far as pitch count, how deep in the game he could possibly work. We know that Colorado Rockies offense, when they're firing on all cylinders, they're as good as anybody. They can put crooked numbers on the board in a hurry. You know, that Dusty Baker used to have a theory on that. When you were playing a team, he didn't want them to come into a series with a 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 game losing streak.
Yeah.
Because it's the major leagues, and these guys are good. They're very good at what they do. Even on bad teams, there are a lot of really good players. And you know, a team coming off a 10-game losing streak, they're going to win eventually. Dusty always wanted a team to win the final game before playing a series against his team.
Makes sense. You don't want these guys angry. Garcia looks at strike 3.
Just as a point of perspective here,
Catcher Eric Fryer.
should this score hold up, the Diamondbacks will have a 2-game losing streak, the longest losing streak they've had at home.
Amazing.
Last year they had home losing streaks of 5, 6, and 7 games. It was tough to win anywhere last year, but the D-backs really struggled here at home, which is why we were so excited the way this season got underway and the way the team was playing here at home.
Well, this will drop them to 50-30 on the season. This is game number 80 today, so we're almost halfway there. And their next win will be number 51. which is how many games they won back in 04 when things kind of went south, which is amazing to think about.
I can think of another word to describe it.
Well, yeah, you weren't around for the end of that one, which was probably good for you.
Yeah. The way the rest of that season went after I got fired, I started to feel better about my 29-50 or whatever it was. It wasn't much. And I really did feel bad for Al Padrique, who took over for me. Poor Al. I used to watch the post-game interviews, and Al, every day, we're trying to find the right formula. We're trying to find the right formula. Tell you, with that 04 team, you could have a team of chemists and had trouble finding the right formula.
That was the era when every team had teams of chemists.
Yeah.
Well, Al Padrique, they're still looking for that formula, I think. He went 22-61, so you did better than he did. You were, let's see, you were 29-50 as the manager of those 04 D-backs. Al was 22-61. That team won 51 games and lost 111.
Is that all?
It seemed like more. Well, they always say, you know, the goal is win the series, take 2 out of 3, take 3 out of 4. Well, eventually the other team's going to win one. I mean, 6 straight series wins is pretty impressive, especially when you're without A.J. Pollock, without Yasmani Tomas. Now you're down Nick Ahmed. Owens it short. Wild throw, and here we go again. The second time in as many innings. The throw pulls Goldie off the bag at first, and Fryer's safe.
It's an odd play. I think Fryer missed the base trying to avoid the tag of Paul Goldschmidt. He doesn't touch it there.
Yeah.
So Goldie, all he's got to do is touch the bag right now, and Fryer's out. Oh, yeah.
Which he did. Here comes Torey Lovello checking in with Sam Holbrook.
Yeah, he should be out down there at first base.
They may be, or they may be telling him he can't challenge. Let's see. He'll check in with Greg Gibson, the first base umpire.
I mean, even if you aren't allowed to challenge a certain play according to the rules, you can always ask the crew chief to take a look at it.
Yeah, managers sometimes get confused on the rules here. They change every year about what you can and can't do, and challenges, and what's a challenge, what's a crew review. Well, Holbrook's the crew chief, but Greg Gibson seems to be explaining the situation. And they're going to call Torey. We'll conference in Torey here. In fact, let's bring everybody in.
Well, it was pretty apparent on the replay that we showed right there. As I mentioned, Fryer, in an effort to avoid Goldie's tag, never touched first base but went past the bag. Goldie realized that, and rather than try to scramble back and tag Eric Fryer, he just touched the base. I mean, if he does not touch the bag right there, this is still a force play at first base. And Goldie's on the bag.
Well, they may be figuring out if they can challenge. It doesn't go down as an umpire judgment call. I mean, I don't think, because judgment calls are not subject to review. Everything else pretty much is. Is it a case of once he goes over the first base bag, doesn't make a motion to second, then the play is over?
No, I mean, because nobody had touched first base either defensively or offensively. in my eyes, that's still a force play.
And let's see, now they're bringing out the headsets, but I think they're going to check in with Mike Matheny first. He's out. Greg Gibson has just told the runner Fryer that he's out, and now they'll tell Mike Matheny what's happening.
That should be the end of the inning.
Yeah. So Fryer's walking off the bag and into the dugout.
Heads up by Goldie to realize he did not have to try to tag the runner. He just had to hit the bag.
Well, we'll try and get an explanation for you back after this. Bottom 9 coming up. Trail at 10-3, and the new pitcher for St. Louis is the right-hander Mike Myers. Just recalled Sunday from AAA Memphis, and he'll get the final 3 outs.
First appearance this season for Mike Myers. See his numbers last season: 5 1/3 inning, gave up 16 hits.
Well, we don't have an explanation as of yet as to what happened there to get that final out at the top of the 9th, so we won't bother to speculate. We'll just move on, and if we get word, we'll pass it along to you. In the meantime, Goldie leads it off. He hit a big home run to lead off the 4th inning. That tied the game at 2, his 19th of the year. Walked his last time up, and home run Goldie's only hit in this series.
First baseman, Goldschmidt.
Popped up, foul ground near the Cardinal dugout, and drifting into play. That's one area that baseball must improve. If there's a call like that or something happens like that in a football game or a basketball game, everybody knows what they're looking at, or they at least know after the fact what happened and why. But we have absolutely no idea, and baseball has been very slow to improve the communication from the field up to the press box. And that's something that you'd really like to see improve, so we can tell you what's going on, because we don't know.
And also what you can challenge and what you can't challenge. I mean, it just seems to me like we want to get these calls right, but we don't care if we get those right. We want to get them all right. We have the technology. Why not use it whenever it's available?
And part of that is just the simple communication process of what's happening on the field, so we can relay that to you. If it's a football game, the referee hits the little thing on his belt and tells everybody in the stadium what's happening. But baseball doesn't do that. Even hockey, the linesmen have those microphones. They skate over and tell you what's happening. But baseball just has not done that. Now, when there is a challenge, they've certainly gotten better at telling us what happened and why. It's often almost every time after the fact, but at least there is some communication there as Goldie grounds out to start off the bottom of the ninth. So food for thought in the offseason for the commissioner's office. Here's Jake Lamb.
We knew when the challenge system was put in place that it was going to be adjusted over time depending on how it worked. How can we make it better? So I have to believe that that'll be a topic of conversation this winter, ways to improve the challenge system.
Well, if you're scoring that play that Fryer grounded out, the runner missed first, so it's a 6-3 put-up. Jake Lamb sends one way back and gone. Number 18 for Lamb. 10-4 ball game. His 5th hit in this series. Well, that'll be good for Jake to head into the Rockies series. He's had a very productive 3 games against the Cardinals.
Yeah, Goldie hit number 19 earlier in the ball game. Jake said, I can't let him pull too far away, so he touches one up here, number 18 on the season, way over the Ram Trucks pool out there in right center field.
He's got RBI 63 and 64 today, which puts him only 2 behind Goldie at 66. They are 1 and 2 in terms of the Major League RBI leaders. The Jumbo Jack. Jack in the box tomorrow. Free Jumbo Jack with a purchase of a large drink. Chris Owings 0 for 3. Gracie and Todd Walsh standing by. Diamondbacks live post-game show follows our ball game on Fox Sports Arizona. You'll hear from Torey Lovello. Jody Jackson will be inside the clubhouse. And they'll get you ready for the big series, which starts tomorrow night on Fox Sports Arizona and Fox Sports Go. 3 games against the Rockies. Diamondbacks will follow that up with 3 games in Los Angeles next week at Dodger Stadium. Taijuan Walker goes here Sunday. Robbie Ray tomorrow night. Zach Greinke on Saturday. Don't forget, fans, if you haven't bought your tickets yet, now's the time to come out for that Saturday game. That's going to be one of the big nights of the year here at Chase Field. A spectacular fireworks show follows the ball game. We'll have the roof closed, of course, during the game. And then after it, we open it up, a big fireworks spectacular presented by Gila River Casinos as we celebrate July 4th on the 1st. And of course, the first 20,000 fans for that game on Saturday night here get that terrific soft style State 48 patriotic t-shirt. A 7:10 start, Diamondbacks and Rockies Saturday. The t-shirt and the fireworks 4th of July spectacular on the 1st of July. Get your tickets at dbacks.com. That is going to be the best fireworks show in town. And then if you're still home on the 4th, you can, head out and see another fireworks show still on a day. If you really need some 4th of July fireworks, but the big show is going to be here Saturday night.
Yeah.
And it's a lot bigger than we always do a good job on the Friday fireworks here, and that's always a good show. But this is the biggest show of the year here.
With the Rockies in town against the D-backs, those 2 high-powered offenses, there may be some fireworks before the fireworks.
And that's a great t-shirt too, that State 48 patriotic t-shirt. Owings hits one deep center field. Pham looking up, and it's off the wall. Well, Chris Owings, who had 2 doubles last night, has a 1-out double here today in the 9th.
Deceiving power for Chris Owings. That's a cement mixer slider right in the middle of the plate. That's a 413-foot line drive just to the left to straightaway center field for Chris Owings' double.
His 21st of the year. The batter is Chris Herman. Don't forget, if you're going online to get your tickets for Saturday or any of those games against the Rockies this weekend, you go to LA, off day Monday, 3 against the Dodgers Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And we're right back home for a series next weekend against the Cincinnati Reds. And that's going to be big as well, because next Saturday, July 8th, is the alumni game. And remember, fans, we're going to play the alumni game this year before that game against the Reds Saturday night. So get here early for that one. That's also a collectible cup set giveaway from Sanderson Ford. And there's a big night here Friday as well, coming up a week from tomorrow on July 7th. I know you've been looking forward to this all year. It's Game of Thrones night.
Oh, yeah, I'm psyched.
And that, of course, is winter is here. The Night King, Taijuan Walker. How about this? We have an advanced copy in our booth because he's, you know, they're the White Walkers, and he's Taijuan Walker.
Everybody knows that.
So this is one of the hot items of the year. The Game of Thrones bobblehead night coming up next weekend here. Don't miss out on that one. Game of Thrones night next Friday, July 7th. Now remember, this is not a normal bobblehead giveaway. You got to get the special ticket package to get the Taijuan Walker Night King bobblehead. So go to dbacks.com/GOT Game of Thrones. Get your special ticket package and you'll get the Taijuan Walker bobblehead. Oh, Chris Herman, way up in the air. Did he get enough?
Get legs.
The Scotty's got it at the wall. Owings heads for third. Well, he tried to get that one north of the wall, but he came up just a little shy.
There's a little too much air underneath that ball. Hit a mile high to right field, chasing Piscotty right back to the barrier to make the play.
Last man standing, Chris Iannetta for 3. Mark Grace, Todd Walsh are ready. Diamondback Live post-game show comes up right after the ball game. I don't want to give anything away, but speaking of Game of Thrones night, you and I were involved in a little Noah Berlin production the other day. We part of a little promo that we've got going. We're going to roll that out just before Game of Thrones night, where you were dressed up as the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch.
No, I just dress like that all the time.
Oh, I did think it was a little odd when you showed up to work carrying a Valerian steel sword. That was a little unusual for you. So look for that on the interweb near you. A lot of the players participated in that Noah Berlin production.
A couple of them really got into it.
Yeah, we got some real Game of Thrones people in the clubhouse. CO is a big Game of Thrones guy. Obviously, Taijuan loves the show. That guy's a huge Game of Thrones fan. I think that's a wildling in from north of the wall. 1-2 on Chris Iannetta. And that's the ball game. Cardinals take it 10-4. They win the series 2-1. And for the first time since April 30th, the Diamondbacks lose a series here at home.
Yeah, not much you can do about this one. We talked about it at the time. The bullpen has been so good for so long. They were entitled to a speed bump, and boy, did they hit a speed bump today. But wash this one off, come back tomorrow, be ready for those Rockies.
D-backs 50-30. A huge series against Colorado starts here tomorrow night. We'll take a quick break. Mark Grace and Todd Walsh will be back after this break. Diamondback Live postgame show.